So this talk comes with a warning, inviting any parts of you that don't want to be here they can go into a different room. If you can invite them, they can put on some noise cancelling headphones. There's sort of, this comes with a little bit of a trigger warning. So just hello to those. They could come and snuggle with you, just so that your thinking, learning parts can be here. And just reminding everyone that all parts are welcome, but they can choose not to be here. So this talk, Drama Triangle, is about the dynamics between people. So it's relational and their external roles, the parts of us that get activated. The Drama Triangle describes, and I'm reading here, dysfunctional relationships where people in the relationship, the dynamics between, shift between three roles: persecutor, rescuer, and victim, all held in place by guilt and blame. So that's the dynamic between. How is that dealt with in IFS? So IFS is usually concerned with the internal family system. So managers, firefighters, and exiles. This is Sykes's triangle that she puts out. So the dynamics between is usually dealt with by doing our U-turn. When I am triggered by something, when something happens out there, I do a U-turn and find, how am I feeling about that? What happens to me when that happens out there? So Cease, she often says things like, yeah, I really get that they're behaving really badly. Wouldn't it be great to have a magic wand and change their behaviour? We can't. All we can do is look at what is happening in here. And I really like that. So come back and let's look. Dick Schwartz, the founder of IFS, and he's written some great books, he has something called the fire drill. When someone's behaving in a way that I'm not enjoying, imagine putting them in a room, and again, in a safe room, I'm outside, it's contained, they can't come and get me. How do I feel towards? What parts of me come up? And Martha Sweezy, I know we've done this again and again, and there's a talk on my website if you want it. This is something I created about her shame cycle. So something bad happened when we were little. This is behind the curtain. And the small child, me, takes on the identity of bad. And so then what do? My protectors come in and they either are totally focused on all of you. What do you think? What are they going to think of me? And are they going to criticise me? So I have an internal critic, but my anticipatory scouts are sort of scanning constantly. Am I good enough for you? Am I perfect enough? Do you like my clothes? And so that's the dynamic between. And also, so that's managers that we talked about in the intro. But there's also, she talks about the firefighters over here. So that's acts 4 and 5. Oh no, so 3 and 4 are the managers, and 5 and 6 acts are the warrior mutiny. It's not me, it's you. You're the ones that deflect my shame. And so that's how I deal with the external. And then obviously the rescue team, the Feel Better, they're much more me related, but they often then get in fights with people externally. When I turn up drunk at work, it probably isn't great. I don't do that, but it affects people outside. So that's how IFS deals with the external. But IFIO, which is the intimacy from the inside out, which is Tony Herbine Blank's couples therapy, is so gorgeous. We use the infinity symbol to look at the dynamics between people. And it's, when you do this, do I know this part in you? Yes, I know this part in you. And what happens to my nervous system? I get really activated, a part of me comes up, I make up a story, and I say, you're doing it because this. And then, what do I then do? Oh, I come out with a really contemptuous tone and have a go at you. Do you know this part in me? Oh, yes, you know this part in me. What happens to your nervous system? what do you think and say, and you know, what story do you make up? What do you then do? And we tend to have that, you know, I don't know, I'm seeing lots of nodding in our relationships. We keep going back often to the same fight, and we can find a different way. So, me being me, I was really curious about the drama triangle, and I sort of think in all sorts of theoretical, like how I have I look for similarities and how things stick in with different theories. I like making connections. That's it. So I asked around, and what do people think of the drama triangle? And quite a few people went, oh, it's dreadful, so shameful, so shaming. We just don't do it in IFS. And absolutely, I really get it. I have tried this, and I don't try this at home, folks. Telling someone that they're being a victim doesn't go down very well. And I really get that. It's, again, if we can do this and bring it back to us, bring it back to me, not you don't have to bring it back to me, bring it back to you. If I can bring it back to me and I can do this from self, the other view in the community is, really interesting. If we can do this as self-learning, great. And because when you're in self, when you've got, when I'm fully me, I'm not frightened of saying, yes, I can be a victim. Yes, I have parts that are persecutory. Yes, I have rescue parts. It's not frightening. It's like looking at my shadow, and when I get down there, actually, it's okay. It's okay to look at my shadow, because these parts have good intentions and they're really hoping for something, but their effects, dreadful with other people. So IFS world, don't do it to other people, but if you can, if you're looking at it for yourself, the view seemed to be, it's okay. So what is it? Transactional analysis. I'm sure many of you have heard of TA. I'm okay, you're okay, sort of 60s. Stephen Cartman did the drama triangle in 1968. It's the classic. He talked about it in terms of fairy stories. And, in many fairy stories, you're going to have a clip-clop hero who's clip-clopping along, coming to rescue the princess, and there's going to be a villain somewhere in the story. And it's the dynamics between each one of them. So what I'm going to do is we're going to bring it internally as well as externally. Stephen Cartman in 68, he talked about the Pied Piper, Little Red Riding Hood and Cinderella. So sort of interesting to look at those. What was interesting is you switch. We can often switch between roles. I am not just the handsome prince, I am not just the princess, I'm not just the villain. So here we go. I thought this was quite fun. It's made me laugh, and then I was a little bit embarrassed. Little Red Riding Hood. I'm not going to do that, but there we go. Little Red Riding Hood. She goes and, I don't know if she really does, but she rescues Granny with her bag of goodies. Then she meets the wolf, and Granny really is the victim of the wolf. But also Little Red Riding Hood is the victim of the wolf. And then Little Red Riding Hood in some stories becomes the persecutor of the wolf. Because, did you hear this bit? She opens the wolf's tummy and puts stones in and then sews it up again. Bit grim. But so Little Red Riding Hood can switch between all three roles. I wanted to say that there are true victims, and obviously Granny was the true victim there. Our exiles, there's a lot of trauma in the world. We are not talking, when we're talking about the victim role, the victim protecting part is different, okay? So absolutely, there's a lot of, I'm really wanting to be careful here, particularly with the victim, that we're not, shaming the little ones, the inner children. This is the stuck position. So when I talk about victim here, it's a protector acting, and often even feeling like one, but protectors they are, and it can be both a firefighter or a manager. It convinces themselves and others they can't do anything. Nothing can be done. It's futile. I'm trying really hard. It focuses on the outside, and it focuses often. This particular part focuses on others, that they're persecuting me and I'm needing a rescue. It's a stuck position. It's like the helpless damsel. They believe they're hard done by. So the manager is, poor me, and I'm stuck. It's like it's a stance as a way of being. Or I can, in reaction to someone, it's like I can have that flashy, you have no idea what it's like. I'm so hard done by. I have a part that uses these tactics to keep me from feeling my true feelings, to reduce anxiety and risk-taking. This part of me elicits, its intention when I talk to it is to elicit sympathy and rescue. It wants to be looked after by others, and people inevitably answer the call. Good intentions, effects not great, because people then get really pissed off with me or this part of me trying to elicit sympathy from them. And internally, I remain stuck, and I can't access real feelings of grief. And externally, others react to the part, they get resentful. So, of course, the victim part needs someone to listen and rescue. If my protector is offered something, someone tries to rescue, this part might say, yes, but, that sort of game. But it's stuck. So, victim. The next one is rescuer. We all tend to find ourselves in one position or the other. I'm going to own up that one of my major protectors is rescuer. I don't know, any other therapists might agree, or any of you might, but this is where I tend to, little old lady crossing the road, she, let me help you, hasn't asked me, I don't necessarily have to do that, but I can go in and rescue people without being asked, and it's a protector, and it's a pretty good hero, it looks good in the system, and it makes me feel good. Let me help you. I put others' needs constantly before mine. It's the good guy. We're raised to be good and shamed when we're selfish and bad. I can take care of people physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And I have a part that shames me when I don't. I was brought up Catholic. Anyone else? Cultural burden. And my parents also had rescuing parts. So there's an element of being controlling, a need to be right in these parts of me. They use the victim to make me feel good. So lots of good intentions, great intentions. The focus is taken off me. I can have lots of moral high ground. But these parts stop me feeling my anxiety and troubled feelings and taking responsibility for them. And it makes me avoid my own IFS trailheads. And it's really annoying for other people to be rescued. Sometimes they might like it, but other times, basically, it doesn't allow them to separate, grow, and be autonomous. These parts of me are hinting at them, you're inept, you can't take care of yourself. You're not good enough, therefore I need to be in charge. It doesn't allow the other to live with the consequence of their behaviours. And I'm not talking about, being asked, but this is a part when it comes in and rescues. Some of mine are a way of life, and a manager, and some of them are firefighters that come in when my nervous system is activated, and they come in and fawn and try and sort of soothe the flames of someone else's anger, and I fawn. This part of me comes in, let me sort it out. It's in reaction to another. Again, it abandons my littlies, my inner exiles, and we just get on the merry-go-round of feeling more unseen. Then, what's interesting in all of these, I mentioned switching. We switch to the next position. So I do something without being asked, and I go and do it. I feel really good, and it's like, yay. And what happens when you don't get thanked? Oh my God, what? And then I go, oh, poor me, oh no. Or I can then start really having a go at the other person about, what after all I've done for you, as I'm slightly embarrassed to even say this, not the part is, really fascinating. It's like, ask inside, is this me who's doing this from a place of self, or is this a part that's got an agenda? And it's been really quite shocking to me to see how often I have a protective part that has an agenda. So, perpetrators, the villain. These can also be managers, like this is the way of life. Anyone here a classic career criminal? If I was to project this part, it would be hoping to keep me safe in some way, belong to the gang, feel powerful, accrue resources. Is that making sense? The intentions might be really good, but more usually, probably here in Stroud, these are the parts that bully a bit, that judge, that say it's all your fault. I have parts that control, or try to control anyway, that use blame. I have a contemptuous part. I have a really imperialistic legacy burden that sort of thinks I'm better than others. Do what I want, keep me superior. Better that, so that's the intention of the part, to keep me from feeling powerless, less than, shame. So the intention is to get people to do what I want. And so those are managers, but I also have firefighting parts that in reaction to another, remember I said about Martha Sweezy's warrior mutiny, it's not me, it's you. The deflection of my shame, I'm going to blame other people, deflecting the pain away from me. And again, you can switch from here, then become the victim, and you can persecute from victim. So what's become clear in all of these, hopefully, is that each have good intentions, but missing the trailhead, the taking of personal responsibility and the feelings underneath. Our little ones, our inner children, get more abandoned. And actually there's a different way. The more we can come find ourselves and make friends, have a self-to-part relationship, things can really go differently. So it's doing a U-turn. So there were, a few years after this, after Stephen Cartman did his thing, there is the winner's triangle from A.C. Choi in 1990. And instead of the three positions of persecutor, victim, and rescuer, we can be assertive. I have needs. The rescuer can be caring. I am listening. And the victim can be actually, I am struggling. And then Ted did the empowerment dynamic, and that's often used in the coaching world, I see often, which is creator, challenger, and coach. If you want to have a deeper look, I'm not going to go into that, but those are the ones that are classically seen as how to move through it. But my lovely colleague Emma Redfern in this book, for supervisors for IFS, she came up with, from the beneficial triangle from Proctor and Tehrani, couldn't find it on the internet, 2001. She has done the healthy triangle, which brings it all back to self, which I really like. And it's like potent, vulnerable, responsive, and responsible. This is the way of, and it's rather than being the dynamic between, this is the healthy way of being when we know these parts in ourselves come from self, and we can use this. So ways of being rather than the dynamics between. So there we go, that's the drama triangle. Thank you for listening for that.